Warning, videos by Billy Alsbrooks do cause side effects. And those side effects are champions being born, dreams being realized, the weak becoming strong, weight loss, victory over unbelievable odds, incredible comeback stories, the sick being healed, marriages being restored, victory over all forms of addiction, job promotions, average people becoming millionaires, warriors becoming blessed and unstoppable. These videos will motivate and inspire you to take action. Warning, your faith is now being increased to the level it takes to move mountains. Arise, champion. I'm Billy Alsbrooks and I approve this message. From a very young age, my mother and father raised me on positive thinking. So as I'm going through these panic attacks and this PTSD, I'm under the impression if I could just think positive long enough that I could bring my mind and body back into balance. But I just kept on having these attacks, day after day after day after day. My therapist knew the state I was in, so he set me up to come in 3 times a week and sit down an hour at a time with him. I'd pray before every session. I'd bring my Bible in with me and sit down on the couch, and we would start our sessions. First, he taught me about how the mind works and why I was having the panic attacks and the PTSD, what was going on scientifically inside my body. He taught me techniques that I could use in the moment where I could grab the steering wheel of my mind and gain back control of my thinking so that I could steer myself back to peace. God had placed an anointing on this man's life for treatment, and I was in good hands. Slowly but surely, I started to gain more and more of my day back, more and more of my week back, my month back, my life back. This didn't happen overnight. This battle went on for 7, almost 8 years. It was a roller coaster. I mean, I'd have 2 good weeks and I'd think, okay, I'm done with the panic attacks. I'm back to normal life. Then the enemy would show up. I'd have a panic attack that was more severe than any one that I'd had before. Back to the couch. But my therapist wouldn't give up on me. He just kept on, and we just grinded it out in therapy. I remember telling my therapist, I said, Travis, if I ever get over this, I'm gonna find a way to help people. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. And it's funny though, because my therapist was actually the first one to call me a pastor. Up until this point, I had never even considered being a preacher or going to ministry school or any of that kind of stuff. I just started going to church. But every time he saw me when I came to therapy, I always had a Bible with me. I didn't have that Bible with me because I was going to be a preacher. I had that Bible with me because that's all I had. See, I knew if God did not fix me, my life was over. The hardest times for me was in between those sessions with Travis. I was good when I was there with him because I felt like I had help, you know, right there in the moment. I've got somebody that understands what I'm going through and he's helping me get through it. But as soon as that last minute of that hour session ended, the anticipation crept back in because now I knew I was back alone until the next session. When I'd get out, I'd look at my watch and I'd be like, 6 days and 23 hours and 59 minutes until I'm back in here. I got very creative at keeping my mind off of my mind. It's amazing when I look back at it. I didn't see it then, but God was moving in the situation. As I mentioned before, when I started getting these panic attacks, I used to go for these walks around my block. And what I started doing was putting on my headphones as I left the house. I'd search YouTube for motivational videos and just pour this stuff in my mind. See, I had to bridge the gap. I had 6 more days before I saw Travis. And these motivational videos, man, they meant everything to me. I was fighting severe depression. I was emotionally wounded. I was shattered into a million pieces. I didn't even recognize myself. But I'm walking around this block with my headphones on, listening to the greatest speakers that ever lived. And they're telling me it's not over, that God had a plan for me. I understand now. For me to preach hope, I had to understand desperation first. And God was showing me that through this time. See, when I do this now, I don't take it lightly. This ain't a game to me, because I know who's on the other end of these speakers, these headphones, these videos, these computers that are watching and listening. I know you. I was you. I know what it feels like to be alone, to be on the edge, the verge of giving up. I've been there. I don't speak now or do these motivational videos for views and counts and YouTube ad revenue. I don't do it for that. I understand what's going on out there. Every week I go back to that block and I drive around it, so I make sure I never forget who I'm talking to. Every night I went out there and talked to God. I got my PhD in faith on that block. That's where it all came from. I speak boldly like this because of that block. That block made me this way. I started going to this Monday night men's group meeting at church. And I should have known something was up, because the first meeting I go to, there's 25, 30 men in there. I don't know anybody. I'm going by myself. All different ages, from like 18 to 70. I'm still dealing with panic attacks. And I just knew a little bit about the Bible and the Word. Just a little bit. In the time that I'd spent out there on that block praying, that's all I knew. And at this first meeting, the group was having this open discussion. This guy started talking about the Word of God. And the way he was saying it was like the Word of God didn't have any power. He wasn't doing it intentionally. But the word he was preaching wasn't the word I was walking out on that block. See, I'm in the middle of a war. The word was telling me I was blessed and unstoppable. That was running contrary to what he was saying. See, I didn't understand at the time how important that was going to be in my life. See, but we got in this heated discussion, and this guy got so mad. He turned the table over, slammed his chair down, and left the meeting. Talk about feeling awkward. I don't know anybody in that group, and I just ran somebody else, been doing this group for like 5 years, and they all knew him, and they all looking at me like I'm the bad guy in the room. But all I'm saying is God still moves. He's gotta move, because if he don't move, I'm not gonna make it. Looking back, I realized the enemy, the devil, was trying to run me away from there, because my destiny was tied to that meeting that I went to that night. And even though everybody was looking at me like, who's this young guy in here talking the word like that? I'm desperate. I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm showing up the next week anyway. I don't care what these people think. It's me against the world, but I'm gonna get my healing. The next week I got a chance to tell the group what had been going on in my life and the struggles that I was going through with the panic attacks. And some of the older guys started to gather around me. They put their hands on me and started praying for me right there at the table. From that point on, my healing, my recovery started to accelerate. I started getting better and better. My therapy sessions were more and more productive. And I slowly, inch by inch, started to crawl out of that pit I'd been in for so long. I remember the promise I had made God one night, that if he healed me, I would tell the world who did it. A couple years later, a Christian university came to our church on Monday night and had an orientation about this college program they had for Bible theology and ministry. I didn't really have any desire to preach at that time or any of that kind of thing. I just thought, what better way to learn the word and learn about God than actually go to school for it? The one thing that was holding me up, the hesitation, was me and my wife were in the process of building a brand new house. I just put down a big down payment on that, and then I was going to have to take on this extra financial responsibility with going to school. So I remember sitting in that chair, and I asked God, I said, is this what you want me to do? And I never will forget, the Spirit spoke to me and it said, you ain't never been more right than you are right now. So I signed up. I couldn't go back to the men's group on Monday nights now because that's when my college classes were. One night during my second semester, I'm there sitting at my desk doing my work, and I get a phone call. And since I'm in class, I send it to the voicemail. It's my wife's sister. She left a message. I knew something wasn't right, so I I excused myself and went out into the hall, and I called Kim back. And when she picked up, she said, "Billy, I got some real bad news. Richard," which was my wife's brother, he hung himself. And Jen's home alone, and we don't want to call her and tell her. So could you please go home and tell her the news? Now, I don't know how to do this. It's not something they teach you in school, how to tell somebody that their family member hung themselves. And on top of that, I'm still having panic attacks, so this sent me into a downward spiral right there. And I'm driving home, and I'm saying, "Lord, why did you give me this assignment? How am I supposed to do this? I can't even take care of myself right now. And you got me delivering this news. I don't know how to tell her this." Years later, I'd be preaching on Monday night. Instead of delivering the news of death, God gave me the message of hope and life. And He revealed to me one night, He said, in order for you to preach life, you needed to first understand death. And this is why you've been so close to it. But now I'm gonna give you a different assignment, and you'll understand the importance of what I'm gonna give you. I finished my college curriculum, walked across the stage and got my degree. And I thought, boy, this is gonna look pretty on my wall. I had no intention of using the degree for ministry. I just loved God. But I couldn't see myself getting up there in front of all them people and preaching. Not from where I came from. I've been a rapper for years. All that junk I've been saying, now I'm gonna get up there and preach in front of all these people? No, not me. Besides, what am I gonna say to them? I was still making the transition from my old life to this newborn believer. I've been a street hustler, entrepreneur my whole life. And the only thing I knew business-wise was this old lifestyle, this rap music, the CDs, the clothing, all this stuff. That's what all my money and income was built around. I had stopped actually rapping myself, but I was still selling this junk. This is all I knew. So I started praying, Lord, show me a way out of this stuff, that I can have income that will pay all my bills and all the stuff that I got going on that's legitimate. There's something I can be proud of, something that matches this new me that you're turning me into. The funny thing about it was, the place I was at, I was connected to the streets. So I had a lot of dope boys and gangsters and stuff like that coming into my workplace there buying this kind of music. My name was good. They knew me as a hustler. I'd been doing this for years. So they respected me in the streets. God started using me to sow life into them, to minister to these guys that were coming in every day. First, I was real timid about it, because I'm like, how am I gonna look? I'm telling these guys about God, and they know me from hustling. They gonna look at me like I'm soft, like I done lost my mind or something. You know, so that pride got in the way a lot of times in the very beginning. I had to learn it the hard way. One day I'm sitting at a red light, and I see one of the guys that comes into my store. He drives through the intersection on these brand new rims, and something came out of my mouth right there on the spot. I don't know where it came from, but I said, they're gonna get him. And I didn't understand the significance of what I had just said. But something in my spirit said, you need to tell him that they're gonna get him. I felt like this was a message from God that I had been given the assignment to deliver. I wasn't close with this guy, but I did like him. I knew he was a dope boy in the street life and ran with that whole scene. So when he came in my store the next week, I remembered my assignment. But I was timid, I was scared. I'm like, what is it gonna look like if White Dog tell this guy to get out the game? What if I tell him that somebody's gonna get him? What is he gonna think about me? I tiptoed around it and told him everything but what I was supposed to tell him. And I let him walk right out my store. He came back the next week, and I did the same thing. I started talking myself out of it. Was that really from God, or was that just me thinking this way? And I let him walk right out the door again. Then the third week he comes back. And by this time I done convinced myself that it wasn't God talking to me. It was just me thinking that. I was like, if it's the third week and he hadn't been got, then nothing's gonna happen to him. It was just all in your head. God don't speak like that. It was just all in your head. You don't need to tell him that. And besides, if you tell him that, he's gonna think you done went soft, that you done fell off. And then they gonna stop coming in here and stop spending money with you. So I kept my name and my pride intact, and I let him walk right back out that door again. A few weeks later, this guy and his girlfriend comes in my store, and they're buying CDs, and we get to talking, and he said something to me. He's like, you know, I'm really having a hard time right now. And I said, oh, what's going on? You know, what's happening? He said, man, you know, ever since my brother was killed, I just ain't been the same. And I didn't put two and two together. I said, who's your brother? He's like, you know my brother. He used to come in here and buy CDs from you all the time. And I'm like, nah, who you talking about? And he looked over at his girlfriend. He said, run out in the car and grab one of the t-shirts that's got my brother's picture on it, the one we wore at the funeral. So she runs out to the car and comes back with the t-shirt. And it's him. It's the one I didn't tell. And I asked him, I said, what happened? What happened to him? He said, well, he was pumping gas at a gas station when these two guys ran up on him. We don't know who it was. All we know is they said, we got you, and shot him. Truth is the new black, the couture for greatness. Get your t-shirts now at blessedandunstoppable.com. Join the movement. Blessed and unstoppable. Success starts with putting the right things into your mind. And my new book, Blessed and Unstoppable, was strategically designed to align your mind with the laws of success. This curriculum will teach you the inner mechanics required to go from average to phenomenal. From living a life with limits to being blessed and unstoppable. As you follow this guide step by step, amazing breakthroughs will happen. New doors of opportunity will open, and favor will begin to chase you down. Blessed and Unstoppable is a 31-day devotional on the laws of success. This book will instigate the thought process and actions required to transform your life. Each day has a Bible verse, a teaching on that day's principle, a positive affirmation, a prayer for the day, self-assessment questions, success quotes, action steps, and a powerful inspirational message. Regardless of what field you're in, Blessed and Unstoppable is your blueprint for success. Get your copy at blessedandunstoppable.com. Also available on Amazon.